What it do? What's up? What's up, everybody? Today we are watching a documentary on Vampiro. Now, if you don't know who Vampiro is a wrestler. I mostly know from like the WCW days, I think. I recognize his character more than I can recognize what stable he was in, like what franchise, whatever promotion. That's the word, promotion. He was in, because I used to watch a ton of wrestling when I was a kid, like a lot of wrestling. It's not something I keep up with a ton in today's market, but it's something I grew up with as an absolute fan. And I thought this would be fun to take a look at this documentary. I've heard good things about the documentary. It's been on my watch list for a long time, and I figured, you know what, it's time. It's time to check it off the watch list and see what Nail in the Coffin: The Rise and Fall of Vampiro is all about. Plus, I've been on a little bit of a documentary kick, so yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. Like I said, Vampiro, I don't have the biggest familiarity with, like I did some of my favorite wrestlers growing up, like Undertaker, Sting, Jeff Hardy, Stone Cold, some of my favorite wrestlers. But I do always remember Vampiro. Pretty iconic in the sense of like his gimmick. So I'm curious to see what this is like. Wrestling is a very fascinating lifestyle, in my opinion. I've heard a lot of podcasts. I've watched a lot of documentaries as well. The Undertaker one, The Last Ride, is probably one of the best documentaries on on a Vampiro. Documentaries on a wrestler, I think, that's around. It's a docu-series. It's a 5-part mini-series. I think it's 5-part mini-series that is really interesting. Very good. Definitely recommend that. But outside of that, I think the whole culture around wrestling and stuff is just really interesting. So I'm excited to check this one out. If you want to watch along with me, this is available on Plex and the Roku channel. I'll be watching this on the Roku channel. So yeah, let's get this thing started. Now, the Roku channel in the past, hold on. The Roku channel in the past, I wanted to say this before we start, in the past, hasn't given me ads. So I'm hoping there's no ads. If there are ads that pop up for some reason, I will pause it over here in the clock. But I've watched other movies doing this on Roku channel. I've not had any issues, so we'll see, but hopefully not. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. What's up, Lotus? Morning, buddy. How's it going? I saw on Discord that you had to fight against a insane opponent in cards. I need to check that out. I need to find time and check out cards. I'm just working. Get that went down the wrong tube. They're showing a bunch of like lucha libre, lucha wrestling, and fun story was I did a show. I used to be a lighting director for live music. I quit doing it, although I loved it with a burning passion. I quit doing it because I just wasn't making enough money, and I was offered full-time work, and I had to take the full-time work. But I loved. I didn't realize John Morrison did the Lucha Libre stuff. But hold on, he's like screaming at people. Vampiro is. But yeah. Anyway, I was doing lights for a Mexican festival, Mexican heritage festival. And they had like beside the stage of music, they had Lucha Libre going on, and it was so hard for me to focus on running the lights for the show because I wanted to watch the wrestling. And Rey Mysterio was there. He did a match there because I was sitting there and they called him on the thing and they're like Rey Mysterio. I was like, nah, shit, no way. The 619, but it was cool. I've done another show too. We did a festival where they had wrestling on the side. Nice, yeah, it was cool. It was really fun. That was a fun crowd for that show. But so like interesting opening for this documentary. But I did this show for this festival, and they had wrestling on like another end of the festival where they did this match where the wrestling was coming around to the stage and while a band was playing, and they came up to as the lighting director, I sit next to the sound sound engineer most of the time for the shows. And they come around to like our booth, our front of house is what you'd call it. They come around to our front of house, and I'm like watching them, and I'm just like, I guess I don't really care that much. So I'm just like sitting there like watching them come around, and it's like midday, so like my lights aren't they're there, but like what are they doing, So I'm not like doing a ton of like intricate light work. And it comes around, my sound engineer like leans over his console, being like, "Get the fuck away from me." because he thought they were gonna come over and like use the soundboard and stuff. I'm like, they would have to be pretty dense to come over and do a spot on the soundboard. You know what I mean? But that was fun. I miss doing that work, man. I got to work with a lot of cool bands, meet a lot of cool people, travel all up and down. I mainly did everything on the East Coast, a little slight shows toward the Midwest, but mostly on the East Coast. Just didn't make enough money doing it. And it was like seasonal work too. If you want to do that kind of stuff for a living, you have to find like a house gig where you work at a venue full time doing lights, or you get picked up by a band. It's too inconsistent work. Loved it though. Loved it and missed it, but did it for 3 years. I didn't realize Vampiro was so big in like the Lucha Libre scene. That's interesting. Chavo Guerrero, holy shit, I forgot he existed. That's kind of interesting. Kind of approach wrestling with a kind of punk rock attitude, where it wasn't like so much of learning the technique as it was learning the energy. Very true. So, Lotus, are you a wrestling fan? Just out of curiosity. The titles for this are really strange. The captions for this, because they're like cut off. Very much growing up as a kid, was a huge Road Warriors fan. Ric Flair's great too. Yeah, Road Warriors are cool. I will always have fond memories of going to my grandpa's house every Monday night to watch Raw with him. Did that for years, like all the way up to like middle schoolish. I would go over and watch Raw with him. I don't think he watches it anymore. He used to watch Raw and then SmackDown, but I never cared as much for SmackDown, so I didn't go over and watch SmackDown very often, which is weird because like at the time that's where like Batista and Undertaker and stuff was. But I think it's because I did other stuff on Friday nights. Like Friday nights were like when I was growing up, like me and mom would go rent a movie kind of thing and hang out. That's probably why I didn't do SmackDown as much. Was he down there living in Mexico? So it sounds like he's more on the like promoting side now. So this doesn't sound like it's going to be a story of. It doesn't feel like it's going to be so much like the Undertaker story where it's someone who just can't give it up. It's going to be. I don't know. It feels like it's more of a transition of like different roles in the business. See documentary with Jake the Snake from Diamond Dallas. What's it called? See if I can find that. Is it The Resurrection of Jake the Snake from 2015? It's only half an hour long. Yeah, the captions on this thing are cut off. That's weird. Nah, it's like 1.5 hours. Huh. Yeah, all I can find is The Resurrection of Jake. Oh, yeah, now it says it's an hour and a half. It was saying it was only 33 minutes, and it's an hour and 33 minutes. It's on Prime Video. I'll add it to the watch list. I love Jake the Snake. I had a Jake the Snake action figure as a kid. That came with the little snake and bag. Always liked Jake the Snake. It was good. First hour sad. Yeah, his life is very sad. He's funny. Like, I listened to the Jake the Snake on a couple podcast appearances. He's really funny. He's a good storyteller and he's really funny. Yeah, for some reason, like, a lot of this is cut off. Like, a lot of the captions, they're like incomplete. It's kind of annoying, especially when they're speaking Spanish. I don't understand Spanish. To have some of them be cut off is really annoying. Lucha Libre Worldwide. But yeah, Lotus, I'll add that to my list. I think you can make a really good Hardy Boys documentary or Jeff Hardy documentary. I really like Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler, always has been. He's had a very tumultuous, I don't know if that's how you say it off the top of my head, life and career. Triple A was the promotion. It's weird that in Mexico he gave a pump up speech in English. I'm just gonna say like Triple X was a better promotion. I love Vin Diesel. Yeah, it's weird, like the guy who's like in charge of this AAA show, who's like, you know, basically being a stage director, is speaking English every time. Yeah, this is interesting. I was kind of expecting more of the wrestler from Darren Aronofsky kind of story, especially from the trailer. Ooh, got an elbow dislocated. That's why I don't know if I'd ever want to do well, one, I'm getting too old, but for two is I don't know if I'd ever want to do wrestling because my goodness, like you have to rely on your partner so much. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just couldn't imagine like you put so much of your own life in the hands of your opponent who could just be New Jack. You know what I mean? Who can literally just be New Jack. So Vampiro has some beef with Jeff Jarrett, old Double J. Get into it, Jeff Jarrett here. I wasn't expecting to see a bunch of John Morrison in this movie. It is fascinating how they like plan out a match, you know? So they turned John Morrison into kind of the villain character. That's interesting because he was kind of a baby face a little bit. And that's crazy. He lives in Canada, but his job is in Mexico. Wait, does he travel back and forth? That'd be crazy. You'd have to be making like some crazy good money to do that. But I guess if you're the head of this giant show, you know, it would be hard to coordinate such a huge live show like this with a lot of moving pieces. Big Sames. I mean, I don't have a kid, but Big Sames. He's like, I want to go home. I want to eat ice cream. And I want to play PlayStation with my daughter. It's like, big feel that. This is a cool shot of him watching into the ring. I liked how they decided to go low with it, like an upward angle. He's had 24 concussions. Holy smokes. My goodness. 24 concussions. That's another thing is as much as wrestling is entertaining, the people who do wrestling just put their bodies through so much gnarliness, which I don't know if that's the case anymore with like all the new standards and stuff, but like wrestlers like me and you, Lotus, like obviously you're older than I am, no offense, but like wrestlers we grew up like wrestled in a completely different state of of mayhem, you know. They were in the asbestos era, if you know what I mean, right? Where before you know it was bad and hurting you. Serious brain damage? Yeah, no kidding. I mean, no kidding. Yeah, the amount of damage, like I just think like wrestlers coming up in today's age will probably not have the health issues that wrestlers in the like 70s through 90s did. Not saying that wouldn't be the case, but like if you just watch an old wrestling clip versus a wrestling clip from today, it's a completely different ball game. It's completely different. Is his daughter's mom not around or something? Because like, yeah, what happened to her mom? I like the Snoop Dogg air freshener hanging in their car. Makes sense. Vampiro is a big hockey guy. I guess he is Canadian, right? That's sad. That's sad. Got a little bit too much counseling from a priest, if you will, which sent him down kind of a bad path. Hey, the Road Warriors. So apparently the Road Warriors were a huge inspiration for Vampiro getting into wrestling. Yeah, I guess Road Warriors were like, he saw Road Warriors and that was it. He was like, I'm getting into wrestling. His friend Robert was a former bodyguard for Milli Vanilli. Oh, that's funny. What do you do? Walk around protecting the cassette player? If I don't get out of here, I'll probably get killed. Leaves Canada, go to Los Angeles. Oh shit, he worked with Milli Vanilli too. That's good life advice. In case you're not watching, what he said was, when you go to the show, don't go to the promoter and ask how I did. Be confident that you rocked it. And if you don't think you did a good job, then basically like sell it like you rocked it. Like you gotta have that confidence that you did a good job. It's good life advice. Don't ask for applause. Just say you rocked it. You did good. Acting cures everything, right? Baseball player did the same thing and wrote on his hat, Bill Ace. Yeah, fake it till you make it, right? If you knew he didn't have his best stuff, the batter didn't know, so he just pretended that he had it. Yeah. Well, especially when you're in a business like wrestling too, where, you know, it's a lot of it's your brand, your presentation. So yeah, if you come out with confidence and you're just like, yeah, I'm the shit. Like I did, like that was a great, maybe not I'm the shit, but like that was a great, you know, match. Like I did a good performance. You know, even if you didn't do a good performance, if you had that attitude, you can convince people. Stay kayfabe. Jesus. Yeah, like he had to do like so many matches in one day and he hurt it, like he got an injury on his knee, and instead of the promotion helping him, they basically just gave him a shot in his knee, drained his knee, and then gave him morphine and said, go on out there, champ. How long has this documentary been going on? Is this something they've been working on for a while or something? Because like there's so much like weird documentary footage from different years where like I don't know why you'd be filming this on a regular basis unless it's from like another interview or something. I doubt IMDb will say anything. Documentary shot over several years is all it says. No shit, what? Shows quarter seven. Yeah. Obviously, but what I'm saying is it feels like they've been shooting this thing for decades. I wonder if they'll cover any of the... I'm pretty sure it was WCW Vampiro was in. Just your snarkiness, Lotus. Okay, here's WCW. This is what I kind of remember. Doyle? Oh shit. They got the Misfits in? I didn't know that. Doyle should have been a pro wrestler. I was sure it'd be. There's a promotion in Tennessee called Micro Wrestling that I really wanted to go see when we were on vacation, but they were off touring and not at their like homestead. So hopefully it'll change. Hopefully next year they'll be there. But see, I remember Vampiro from the WCW days. That's why the mom's not around the picture. She left. What's kind of interesting is Vampiro kind of said Jeff Jarrett kind of screwed him over, and Jeff Jarrett was kind of like WCW didn't give him a fair chance or something. I just thought of that. So he opened up like a self-defense school. So he started a like vigilante like neighborhood watch group. What a twist. That's so creepy. That is so creepy. Yeah, it is weird. This kid's a Vampiro fan and he meets him and he's like, if I have a kid, a son, I'm going to name him Ian, which is Vampiro's real name. And he's like, and if he has a daughter, I'm going to name him Dasha. And it's like, that's Vampiro's daughter's name. It's like, that is so creepy. That is so creepy. The Ian part, whatever. That's not that big of a thing. But it's if I'm going to have a daughter, I'm going to name him after his daughter, who's not a celebrity. I guess maybe a celebrity by proxy, but Matt Striker's saying all these nice things about Vampiro, and Vampiro sitting next to him just looking dead inside, totally staring off into space. Yeah, he's like saying all this nice stuff, and Vampiro's just like, yeah. It's one wrestler, he wanted to take a bump from him, and he was like, I don't know, man, I don't know if we should do that. And he's like, nah, it's going to be good. And then he got hurt, and the guy is like, dude, are you hurt? I told you this would happen. He signs the autographs, but he's kind of very standoffish to anybody who like recognizes him. I guess I never like, if you would have looked at the roster of wrestlers like I'm familiar with or like know by name, I wouldn't have thought Vampiro would be the one who can't walk anywhere without getting autographs, but I guess he was that big in Mexico. Like, I definitely remember Vampiro from WCW, but there are like if I ever did wrestling, there'd be some moves that I would be like, absolutely not gonna happen to me. Like a lot of those ones where they just drop you on the head, I'd just be like, absolutely not. Very unprofessional doctor, by the way. Like this doctor he goes sees. Like when you hear him talking stuff, you're like, I don't know if I'd take medical advice from you. I don't even know if I'd take your record advice, let alone medical. You can tell this guy who dropped him on that suplex that hurt him feels really guilty about it. Yeah, there's some moves like I would be like, nope, you're not doing that to me. Then just stop. That's so weird. I don't love being in the ring anymore, but I love being the producer, moving the cameras, everything. Then just stay in the background. You know what I mean? Just stay in the back. I don't feel like it's that, like, yeah, just stay in the back. Oh, hey, Lotus. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Gold Lotus is, I don't know if he's working with somebody or just promoting something, but there's a Popper tournament in Columbus, first weekend of December or something like that in Columbus, Ohio. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, but I know it's probably a bit of a drive for you. I don't know if you'd want to make it, but I just didn't know if you heard about it or not. Just thought I would tell you. Yeah, he didn't walk too well. Canada's got some beautiful fucking, like, wildlife. I don't know if wildlife's the right word, but, like, nature, scenery. Yeah, scenery. He really does love his daughter. I mean, you can really tell, like, that's what his, like, main life focus is. I like that fucking jacket he's got on. I think stylish. He's at his daughter's graduation. Oh, those big telephoto lenses, so bad. There's a camera in the background that has like one of those, like, I don't know, 70 to 300 lenses, and it's like, oh, I want one of those so bad. They're such nice lenses. Said I have a 12 to 60. I was like, I can't remember what this lens is. I have a couple primes too, but I'm thinking about selling them to get anamorphics. Don't really want to sell them though, so I might not, but it wouldn't hurt to sell them at some point to get some anamorphics. For some reason, I didn't think it went to 12. I thought that was like 16. It's at 12 right now. Well, some with a little bit more of a fish eye to it, but not quite a fish eye lens. One that's just a little bit wider. One of these days, I just need to get a Super 35 camera and quit with the Micro Four Thirds. One of these days, you know. I mean, he's got like a slight, like Vampiro's got like a slight bit of You know, I don't know when to hang it up and just stay in the background, but for the most part, like, it's not like, you know, some of the other people that I've heard where they're just like, oh, I just got to get one more, you know. I don't know why it's so hard for them to have like a good exit. You know what I mean? Like just have a good last match. Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard for them just to have a nice exit strategy. Ian was diagnosed with early onset of Alzheimer's. He's currently living in Nevada seeking treatment. Oh, that's so sad. He returned to the ring? Oh my god. Never mind, I take back what I said. To face his rival one more time. That's sad he's got early onset Alzheimer's. Well, that was the Vampiro documentary. It was a good documentary. It was a good documentary. Vampiro is an interesting, like, I remember liking him, you know, back when I was a youngin' watching WCW. I liked Sting more, but I did like Vampiro. Yeah, the documentary, it was a good documentary. Nice spanning telling of career. I think it tells Vampiro's story pretty nicely. Kind of presents who he was. It's cool he was so behind the scenes. It really sucks to see that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, though, because that's just, that is such a horrible thing. But yeah, it was good. It's cool. I always think it's a cool, like, scenario when performers get more behind the scenes. One of my biggest fears. I always thought, like, in terms of all the terminal diseases, like, I always thought like Alzheimer's and dementia would be like maybe one of the easier ones to get away with, because like my head was like you wouldn't know you're sick, right? But then I watched the movie The Father with Anthony Hopkins, and the entire film is edited and shot to be in the perspective of Anthony Hopkins' character with Alzheimer's, and it is maybe one of the most horrifying movies I've ever seen. It's not played to be a horror movie, but it is probably one of the most horrifying movies I've ever seen. No joke. Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for Best Performance. Well deserved. It's an amazing movie. It really is. But it is, I'm not joking, probably one of the most horrific movies I've ever seen. And a lot of that is because of how it presents Alzheimer's and dementia. And it opened my eyes past my own ignorance, where I could see how horrific this disease is. Because I always thought it would just be hard on the people around him, not the person himself. But no, it's you know what I mean. It is something that I really wish we had a cure for, and it is something that I really wish nobody would have to suffer with. Outside of that, going back to the movie, it was good. Like I said, Vampiro is interesting. I love, in terms of like subjects for documentaries, wrestlers have to be some of the most interesting, because there is a certain psychology behind wrestlers, and there's a certain wrestlers have this certain kind of drive and charisma that is just inherently fascinating. And it's a business that thrives in stories, because not only is it a storytelling business, but there's so many like behind the scenes stories and stuff that are so interesting. Natural rivalries. Typically wrestlers just cross so many different paths, so they just have an interesting story on their own to discuss and to talk about. And that's kind of the case here. But you also get to see like a family person who, you know, really does kind of put family first, but unfortunately has just, I wouldn't say unfortunately in the terms of like, I don't think he like was neglectful, but like, you know, he can't quite give it up. He's not in the, like I said, I've seen other cases where wrestlers just literally cannot give this thing up. They cannot give it up. And that's not really the case with Vampiro, but Vampiro kind of does this other thing where he just, I think, just wants one more. You know what I mean? Just like that thing where he just wants one more. It's not like I don't get the idea of like, oh, he's like keeps chasing this thing, but it's just like he gets so wrapped up, I think, in the behind the scenes thing that he's like, you know, where he's like, I'll take this bump, you know, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't. He's like, it'll be fine. And then he gets hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where Vampiro is at. I don't think he's like someone who's like, I have to, like Ric Flair, where he has to have this match where he's like half dead. You know what I mean? Where he's just like, I think he just thinks he can still do things he can't do anymore, is what I kind of get the opinion of it. It's not like, oh, he has to get in the ring and have this match. I think he wants to have a great exit match. But I think he does. I think he puts himself in situations where he's like, I can take this bump. And then it's like, no, not really. You know? But yeah, it's a good documentary. Definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Vampiro or wrestling in general. I think it's a pretty good documentary to check out. I would give it a 7 out of 10 overall. I think it's good. Yeah, it's just like one of those like solid movies, solid experiences. But I'm gonna bounce for today. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks Lotus for hanging out. If you're watching this on YouTube, you want to watch this unedited, you can go to Patreon down below to get access to all the unedited live streams, as well as your name at the end on the end screen here. Outside of that, all links are down below as well. If you want to watch these live when I do these, Twitch is the best place to do it. Be sure to turn on bell notification, be notified anytime I go live. Lotus, you also have a great day, buddy. Have a great weekend. And to anybody else watching, have a great weekend. I will see y'all later. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.